Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour, the Presidential Tribunal has begun today in Abuja with the People's Democratic Party praying to have the President served by substituted service and has asked the court to annul the election. The politics and intrigues for the leadership of the 9th National Assembly intensifies as more people throw their hat in the ring, with some of the candidates holding strong views on party stance. The former secretary to the government of the Federation, Chief Olufalaye, has asked the Oyo State Governor-elect Seyi Makinde to bring back the template of governance instituted by late Bafemi Awolowo in the southwest. Welcome everyone to the program, and the big one is here. It's the day that the Presidential Tribunal kicks off in Abuja at the appeal court, where the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, have gone to court to challenge the victory of the APC and the President Muhammadu Buhari. The Presidential Election Tribunal has granted leave to the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate to serve the President and his party the petition by substituted service. The petition and other processes are to be served on the President through number 40 Blantyre Street off Aminu Kano Crescent, Wuse 2 in Abuja, being the National Secretariat of the All Progressives Congress. Now, counsel to the PDP and its presidential candidate, Mr. Chris Uche, while moving the ex parte motion, asked the appellate court to grant the request on the ground that it has become practically impossible to reach the President for personal service. Mr. Uche also informed the court that it is in the interest of justice that the request be granted. Now, the ex parte application was predicated on 7 grounds. In his ruling, the lead judge of the 3-man panel, Justice Abdul Aboki, said the court granted the request of the petitioners in the interest of justice. Alhaji Abubakar was on the 18th of March filed a petition challenging the declaration of President Muhammadu Buhari as winner of the February 23rd presidential election. He's asking the tribunal to declare him as the winner, having scored majority of the lawful votes cast. In the alternative, he and his party are asking the tribunal to annul the election that returned President Buhari as president and order INEC to conduct a fresh election. No date has been fixed for hearing of the petition on the grounds that the main respondent, that is the president, has not been formally served with the petition as required by law. We have our correspondent for us in Abuja, and she has the latest.
By the orders of Justice Abdul Aboki, who is the lead judge in the Election Petition Tribunal, the President will be served through the national headquarters of the All Progressive Congress at the Wuse 2 area of Abuja. Now, this order is predicated upon an ex parte motion filed by counsel to the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate, Mr. Chris Uche. Mr. Chris Uche told the tribunal that all efforts to serve the President personally had proven abortive, hence the need for the courts to make an order for substituted service. And now, until that service is, affected, no date has been set for the formal commencement of the tribunal. It is not known whether they will be able to successfully serve the President through his party secretariat. But if they're not, they will probably come back to the tribunal to ask for another means of service, and if they are able to do so, perhaps a formal date for the hearing will be communicated, and then the hearing into the petition will commence.
In the meantime, Justice Ahmed Mohammed of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has adjourned a suit challenging the campaign funding of President Muhammadu Buhari and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, to May the 7th. The presidential candidate of the National Rescue Movement, Usman Ibrahim Alhaji, who filed the suit, wants the court to nullify the participation of the president and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in the February 23rd, 2019 presidential poll because they spent more than provided for by the Electoral Act in their campaigns. The plaintiff is also asking the court to invoke Section 91, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act 2010, to nullify the participation of the two candidates. At a resumed hearing today, the plaintiff's counsel asked the court to deem the matter for hearing following the absence of counsel to the accused persons in court. The trial judge, however, ruled that the court cannot fix a date for hearing since the defendants are still within the 30-day period for a party to file a response in the suit. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has been speaking on the supplementary elections to hold in Adamawa State on Thursday, the 28th of March, and also on the judgment of the Court of Appeals Sokoto concerning the sponsoring of candidates by the APC in Zamfara. Speaking on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Oluwole Osazozi, says that the supplementary elections will take place in about 44 polling units between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. in 29 registration areas. While on the concluded governorship and House of Assembly elections in Zamfara State, the Commission, he says, is reviewing the certified true copy of the judgment on the candidates of the All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State and will take a decision.
Because of the court injunction that affected Bauchi and Sokoto, we could not proceed with it. So it is a situation foisted upon us by the injunction granted. But now that the obstacle has been removed, we just thought, look, why waste more time? We are conscious of the fact that the Constitution requires us to conclude elections not later than 30 days before the expiration of tenure. And the expiration of tenure is May 29th, so we must conclude the process. There is nothing in the law that stops us from fixing any date for the governorship. It does not have to be on Saturday. If the federal government, the state government decides to declare a public holiday or make it a work-free day, by all means, or half-day, whichever way, that's okay. They feel that it will assist the process. But don't forget, this is not an election for the whole state. It's an election for, I think it's 44 units out of a couple of thousands that the Adamawa State has. So we think that we should deal with this matter in dispatch, and most stakeholders think that, yes, it is about time we conclude the process. So that's exactly what we're going to do. If not for the judicial intervention, this thing will have been long concluded.
Well, staying with INEC now, the Independent National Electoral Commission will conclude supplementary elections in Adamawa State the 28th of March. Now, the announcement follows a court order which lifted the restriction on the Commission to conduct the rerun in 44 polling units in the state. INEC had fixed March the 23rd, 2019 for the supplementary poll, but the court stopped the exercise pending the determination of the suit brought before it by the governorship candidate of the Movement for Restoration and Defense for Democracy, MRDD, Mustafa Shaba. Mr. Shaba had sued the INEC Commission over the omission of his party's logo on the electoral materials used in the March 9th governorship election in the state. However, before the decision, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Hamadu Fintiri, was leading with about 300,000 votes, while the candidate of the All Progressives Congress and the incumbent governor, Jibrila Bindo, had polled about 300,000 votes as well. With the High Court judgment today, INEC is now free to conduct the supplementary governorship election and announce the winner of the poll.
The decision of the High Court in Adamawa State to vacate the restraining order stopping INEC from conducting supplementary elections in the state on March the 23rd means the exercise can now hold in the state. The lead counsel to the People's Democratic Party is relieved that INEC can conduct rerun elections in the state.
The court set aside the ex parte order in unequivocal terms. The court also dismissed the application for injunction filed and argued by MRDD and their purported governorship candidates. So the coast is now clear for INEC to conduct the rerun election.
But the Council to the Movement for the Restoration and Defense of Democracy, which filed a lawsuit against INEC, is not backing down on the case.
What the court did was to grant what they call accelerated hearing. Accelerated hearing merely means that the matter should be heard with dispatch very, very fast. Let them hear it immediately. And that is why the court said there is no need to stop INEC from doing anything if we are going to hear it immediately. The court has already hinted that it intends to deliver its judgment on Friday. So if you look at what's supposed to happen tonight on Friday, so we have not lost anything.
Meanwhile, a few meters away, a group of MRDD supporters who were denied access into the court are demanding justice for the exclusion of the party's logo on ballot papers during the last election.
The case is in court, so yeah, that's why we are protesting. That's what we call peaceful demonstration, so that the court will be here with us and do us the right thing. Yeah, we are pleading the court to do justice in terms of what is happening.
The Electoral Commissioner in the state says INEC is ready for the supplementary elections on March 28th in 44 polling units where votes were cancelled.
As a result of this development, the Commission at the highest level, in consultation with the security agencies, I decided that the supplementary election should hold on Thursday, 28th of March 2019.
Adamawa State is one of 2 states left in the country where the 2019 governorship election is yet to be concluded. Today's court ruling, which allows INEC to conduct the polls on Thursday, will hopefully put an end to the suspense for Adamawa State residents.
INEC is today giving certificate of returns to some of those who won the governorship elections in their respective states. Members elected into the state houses of assembly will also be giving the documents indicating victory at the polls. From Niger State, where INEC said certificate of return will not be issued to individuals who have been found wanting in the last election for compelling returning officers to announce results on the duress. National Commissioner Professor Antonia Stimbini stated this in her remarks before the presentation, before handing the Governor Abubakar Bello the certificate. Well, in Enugu State, the Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi and Governor-elect and the other elected members of the State Assembly were present at the INEC office to receive their certificate of return. While in Edo State, INEC began presentation to elected members from Edo State and the 24 elected lawmakers, all of the All Progressives Congress. While in Imo State, Mr. Emeka Ihedioha, his deputy governor-elect, Gerard Irona, and 27 candidates who won the seat in the Imo State House of Assembly have also been given their certificate of return by INEC in Owerri. After receiving his certificate of return, the Imo State Governor-elect Emeka Ihedioha promised to run an all-inclusive government. Back to legal matters now. The case instituted by Bishop Osadoloroche, an Edo-based Edo cleric and rights activist who dragged the APC national chairman and former Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole to court over an alleged corruption, is expected to be heard today at the Abuja Federal High Court. Here, Justice Anwolu Chikere is expected to rule on an application for order of mandamus filed by the bishop, asking the court to compel the EFCC to investigate as well as prosecute Oshiomhole for alleged corruption and embezzlement of funds belonging to Edo State while he served as governor of the state. The case may be stalled as parties and their counsels are yet to show up in court, except the applicant. A federal lawmaker, Senator Ali Ndume, disapproves of the purported endorsement now of Senator Ahmed Lawan for the position of President of Senate by the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole. Senator Ndume is one of the front-runners vying for the position of President of Senate in the 9th Assembly. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, Senator Ndume describes the endorsement as unconstitutional, explaining that the Constitution stipulates that the Senate and the Deputy Senate President shall be elected by lawmakers. He explains that for the sake of unity and stability among party members as regards aspirations for positions, the party leadership was expected to zone the positions and allow the contenders within the zone to emerge either by consensus or a shadow election. Take a listen.
The Senate should be what it is supposed to be. It is supposed to be an institution that clearly by the Constitution is supposed to be independent. And what I feel pained most about is that even in primary school or in your own locality or in your own small community, you don't impose a leader on even the children around your compound. They normally have a natural way of saying that this is our captain or this is supposed to be our leader. What Adam Oshomole, because it was him that said that just threw it to us that Amelang should be our next president. I don't believe that that is truly the position of Mr. President. Because let me add that before I went into this contest, I consulted with Mr. President and he gave me the go-ahead. I consulted with Tinubu, he gave me the go-ahead. That was even immediately after the primaries, before my election.
So to come on Lunchtime Politics, Chief Olufalaye has asked the Oyo State Governor-elect Seyi Makinde to bring back the virtues and standards of the late Obafemi Awolowo in the governance of the Southwest region. That's in a moment. Join us again.